Welcome to New Earth Light Brigade. I know we're a little bit late to the punch on this one. It didn't just happen, but about a week ago or so, there was the UAP hearing where once again, Department of Defense members and different people from the government testified under oath before Congress that there's extraterrestrials on Earth, and not only that, their technology is here as well, and the government is possessing it. So I figured, why not do a little show on it, talk about it? We might even be able to show some footage here. I've been downloading the UAP hearing, and it's still in my download bar. I don't know if we're going to get there or not, but welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome, Audrey. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So I thought I would go ahead and share my side on the galactic side, not from like a disclosure side, but from a star seed perception and a galactic federation or net. It's sort of like a liaison about this type of stuff. So there would not have been a UFO press conference about the aliens in our ocean. And by the way, it's not aliens in the ocean. To be honest. Oh, I have background noise. Let me see if I can try to fix it.
I think it's because I had my microphone on.
Okay.
Yeah, so it might have just been my fault.
Okay. So the aliens in the ocean are not actually aliens in the ocean. There are actual called merfolk. There are 4 different species of aliens that actually live in our oceans. But there is one main one that they're most afraid of, which is the merfolk. The merfolk are genetically related to humans. They have been teaching dolphins how to tip yachts. Or, killer whales how to tip yachts.
So that was them. Really? Well, dolphins were doing it too. I'm pretty. Or no, yeah, it was the killer whales. Yeah, you're right. I remember
It's the killer whales. And the reason why is because the merfolk have not been genetically altered like humans. They are genetically similar to us, but they have evolved around the same rate as humans, but they weren't under strict authoritarian control like we were under the Anunnaki rulership. So they have been free from Anunnaki rulership and draconian rulership. They've been free to do whatever they want because they live in our ocean. So they have like free range, free stuff.
And they actually know. For humans, the law on the ocean is different. Maritime admiralty law, which unfortunately is used on the land, yada yada yada. But it's a well-known fact that like once you get on the ocean, all the laws change. All the national boundaries aren't applying in the same way anymore. So it's interesting you bring that up because even from what we're seeing, from what we are privy to as the public civilians, with all the hidden information, even what you see on a surface level like supports what you're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there are 4 other races that live in our oceans. Now there is one race that migrates, that comes to Earth seasonally. Like they only come here during like the winter season on their planet, or come during the spring season on their planet. And they just come here to vacation. Now the other 3 races that I mentioned live on Earth permanently. They believe that the ocean is their home, like Earth is their home, because they migrated to this planet because their planet was either destroyed or have been occupied by a let's just say a negative race, or had some sort of issue on their home planet. So they migrated to Earth. Now, you have to understand that Earth is extremely rare planet because of the amount of water that we have on our planet. Our planet is, according to what's going on right now, it's 75 to 80% of our entire planet is made out of water. And if you understand a little bit about humans, we cannot survive more than 3 days without water. So technically under the classification of actually understanding the human race, we are a semi-aquatic species as the human race. Whether or not
Can I ask you a question? Like, why? What kind of world do they got going on down there, where people would actually come here to Earth to vacation? And what is their lives like out there if they're willing to come here where we have war, famine, destruction, all these terrible things?
they mostly see Earth as a anthropologic research center. They're researching us as a development of what not to do to other races that are similar to us in development. So we're like a experimental type of planet to like understand how we evolve and de-evolve. Because the human race, if you understand a little bit about our history, there is actually understanding that the human race has had history where we evolved to be extremely intelligent race, to have extraordinary talent, extraordinary beautiful civilization. Like we still have stone temples in India that have these amazing artwork and stone artwork. Where did that come from? And then the next thing we know, civilization has been wiped out several times. And so this is the reason why a lot of these races like to come to Earth, is to like figure out, why do we keep evolving and de-evolving? Is it our own flaws that are doing this, or is it an outside occurrence like the Anunnaki or the Draconians doing this to us and stuff? So there's this back and forth between, is this us doing it, or is it an outside force doing this? And the reason why we constantly repeat over and over and over again as a civilization. And so this is the reason why they like coming to Earth, is to basically experience and understand our human culture, because we're basically, the way that we handle things is backwards. And they're trying to like understand the reason why our philosophy and our understanding is backwards than the rest of the galaxy. And it's mostly because, due to our emotional complex, we have this huge range of emotions that they're not used to experiencing. But also, the other reason why they like coming to Earth is because back then there was no Anunnaki control. The human race was not as advanced, did not know a whole lot about our oceans. They were totally free from any human interactions of any type of interference from the galaxy and also from the human race. They were totally free, carefree, nothing to be concerned about. And so sometimes a lot of ETs do like coming to Earth, because they get to experience things that they're not allowed to experience on their home planet, that is actually forbidden or taboo. And so, and they're like totally culture shocked when they come here. And it's like, I can't believe your race does this or accepts this or, you know, does these things. And it's like, this is entirely banned, and where we're from. And if we even engage in it, we will be assassinated on the spot for even engaging in it, or being or even thinking about doing it and stuff. So Earth doesn't really have strict protocols and stuff. And a lot of the civilizations that I interact with or understand, that most of them do come from a matriarchal society, not a patriarchal society like we are. And so this changes the entire fundamental dynamic of their entire culture and our culture. Their culture mostly centers around the future of their civilization, meaning the children. Their entire culture is centered around the children and the structure of their society, where our society is all about status or something else, like power, status, and
You
stuff.
know,
It's a really different.
that there's a whole underworld that abuses children, and it's part of their religion, and the rest of the population is unwilling to accept that
Yeah,
unfortunate truth, which needs
yeah.
to change. People need to accept that it's going on. so that we can get rid of it because it is illegal. There's a reason why they are so secretive about it. I'm not trying to take you off track, but I felt like it was an important point to bring.
Yeah, and it's like they don't understand the reason why the general public doesn't want to accept it. And not only that, but the other issue that we also have to face is religion. Like, the major part of the reason why is because of religion. They claim that they have religious freedom, that it's part of their religion, and it's okay to do it.
And I know this because I've heard them literally say that.
And when you talk about it, them, it's like, well, this isn't religion, this is abuse. Like, how can you tell us that this is religion when it's
No,
actually literally abuse?
they know that they enforce their ability to be able to continue to do what they're doing through brutal violence and just intimidating people and scaring people.
So, yeah, so the number one reason, so getting back to this UFO hearing about UAPs is because the aliens in the ocean are actually in the process of being the first race or native species of the human race that is actually physically allowed by the Galactic Federation to physically present themselves to the general public and to physically present themselves with actual true information about the human history that the Anunnaki and the Draconians have been trying to hide from us for centuries. So they are allowed to reveal their side of human history because they lived alongside it with us, and they're allowed to present it because they are a national native born race of this planet, as well as humans. And they're known as the Merfolk. The Merfolk are allowed to physically show themselves to the general public, whether it be on our beaches, whether it be in public, or whether to be on the house floor of our government floor. They're allowed to present themselves and basically be the first race to be used as first contact. Now, first contact did happen during World War II when it came with the Greys. They were an emergency race to do first contact, but it ultimately failed. They originally wanted the Palladians to do first contact during World War II, but they couldn't because the atmosphere for Palladians were poisonous. So that's the reason why they did it with the Greys. Now, ultimately, the Greys did not understand. They knew enough about us to intervene and showcase themselves to us, but they were not allowed to showcase themselves to the general public because of their appearance. If that makes sense. If they would show themselves physically to the parents, it would make that we are going to war to these Greys, or going to war, or understanding, or basically give away the entire dynamic of World War II, basically. And they were not supposed to interfere with human culture, but I ultimately failed because the Greys have been cemented into human culture now in sci-fi culture.
Yeah, and not only that, a lot of the technology that we have, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like all reversed engineered alien technology, a lot of it. I mean, the
Yeah,
technology
but it's
we see.
what is really sad is that we have snuff films of these Greys that are interrogation by our government on X, on Facebook, on TikTok, and it's like, do you guys do realize that these are actual released snuff films of these Greys being interrogated by our government, and they can see these Greys, if they have access to human internet, they're seeing their loved ones, they're seeing the people that they work with through these snuff films that they weren't allowed to see by our own government. They're seeing in real time how our government treated their kin on human social media snuff films. How does that make an entire race feel about us? What does that say about us as the human race?
Well, it's one of the things that I think does aid this is the lack of knowing if it's real. I think that if people weren't so desensitized by movies and science fictions and things that look and like very much so appear to be real but aren't, that they wouldn't look at those videos in the same way and they probably would be disgusted. And I think that that aids kind of the cognitive dissonance to where people are sharing it blindly and not realizing they're sharing something that is kind of disgusting. Well, frankly, it is disgusting because to that the way it's being looked at, well, this is evidence that aliens are real. So they're looking at it sometimes maybe as a good thing. So it's a nuanced issue because it is important that we raise awareness that these beings are real and that they're being hurt. One thing I kind of want to bring up that was interesting for me in its personal story from my life is when I was young and I tried to pray to Jesus and find out if Jesus was real. I saw a gray hybrid on a table that was stuck on the table, and it saw its eyes and it was pleaded to me, please help me. And I know that it was trapped somewhere. And I think that might even be an altar of mine that is a gray. Like I've figured out that maybe not all of my altars are human. But I'm not sure about that. I don't really know what that was, but I felt the pain of that being and the way that the being was being treated, and um, that's the unfortunate truth of this underground world that exists is they're not treating human beings like people, nonetheless extraterrestrials. Which I'm not trying to say like they're any less worthy than us, but it just says a lot about us where we're not even treating our own kind with
Yep.
respect.
So this is the number one reason, if people have been watching my space school series, this is the reason why Earth is classified as a hostile level 3 planet. And we're not getting out of that category anytime soon. Now, the reason why they want the Merfolk to present themselves to the general public, or the reason why, is because the Merfolk are trying to advocate for our rights as a civilization to end this type of stuff. But they also want to advocate that our oceans are dying, and that if our oceans die, then the human race will die or perish as well, because a lot of our food
Let's all
source does come from the ocean. Our entire planet ecosystem relies on our oceans. And if our coral reefs and our stuff is dying, it won't be long until the human race will start to perish as well. So they're trying to advocate the health and wellness of our oceans and to educate us about ocean life. But also, they also want to share the true knowledge of the human race to us that was not given to us. They believe that every single record that showcase anything about the human race is falsified or have been altered by the Anunnaki or other races to get us not to understand our own human history, because we are a hostile race. They don't want us to evolve because we're a hostile race. And they have seen our race during Atlantis and Lemura, where we did have years of peace. We used to be a peaceful civilization, and they want that back. And they think that the only way for us to become back a true peaceful civilization is to basically show us our true history. And they have records, actual video records and actual records down in our oceans to actually showcase our true history of the human race. And this is the reason why it scares our government structure, the reason why it scares the family, and the reason why it scares the Anunnaki and the Draconians. Because once we start learning about our true history, they're afraid that we'll start to activate our own abilities and become a more hostile race and going after these races that did these stuff. But on the other hand, we're dealing with a larger issue that we're still trying to shut down the chrome farms and stuff. And the Merfolk have stated to me in galactic court that they have destroyed several compound bases under our oceans that used to be chrome farms. They deliberately destroyed them. And they told them that if you constantly keep building these chrome farms in our oceans, we will destroy them. We don't care about what your religion says. We don't care about what the galactic, we don't care about your laws. This is a violation on a soul level. So they have told me that they have destroyed over 325 chrome farms in our oceans.
Yeah, so that's a big aspect to this disclosure that's probably not really being brought to the floor of Congress. Unfortunately, the download of the whole thing didn't work. I gotta get like this app that Brian keeps telling me about, where it just downloads it and it does it right every time. And I really don't have an excuse, but I do have like a video of them talking, like some mainstream news talking about it. But I just didn't even realize until after I downloaded it and kind of skimmed through it before we came on that it's just basically them talking, and they barely show any of the actual hearing. So it could be just a bunch of conjecture, and I don't want to waste people's time. But
So this is the reason why our government really doesn't like the Merfolk a whole lot. And just to let people know, it's not ocean aliens. They're talking about the Merfolk. The Merfolk are genetically related to us. They're basically our cousins. And the reason why they said, "Oh, it's ocean aliens." And it's like, well, we can't really tell the general public that it's mermaids
it's just so
from
much.
our
It's so much of the
mythical lore.
terminology that they're using is still deceitful. Like they're really not giving us very much at all. Like even the whole UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, like that is very gaslighty to me. It's like just call it a, because what they're trying to do is they're kind of start it over again. Like it's a new thing. Like we just started talking about it. It's like no, we've been talking about this since the 1950s. Therefore, you have been lying to us, covering things up, and not doing your jobs, which is supposed to be working for the people, for decades now. So it's like, I just feel like it's just more of like, well, one of the reasons why people are apathetic about it too is like they always bring this forth when they're, like right now, like the timing, like people are more concerned about the fact that they can't afford their groceries and that they can't afford living than the fact that there are, there's intelligent life.
I think it was done deliberately, to be honest. I believe that the inflation and the stuff, because our government knew that the Galactic Federation wanted us to have first contact. They wanted this to happen. And so, of course, what are they going to do? Is basically like, oh, how can we get the general public not to be interested in this? Oh, let's create, like inflation and stuff. So I mostly believe that it was done on purpose so that we wouldn't be as invested in it as we are now. And also because people have been desensitized by this stuff for years now because of our movies, because of what they've been exposed to. And on the other hand, this UFO hearing, people need to understand that this proves to people that their experiences are real. This is proof that any person that has been abducted by aliens, whether it's been from space or from our oceans or whatever, every person that has been abducted by aliens for the past 75 or 100 years or what or so, our U.S. government just confirmed that aliens are real and that your experiences are real. That
Yeah,
is huge.
like it's kind of being glossed over by the public. Like people aren't really thinking about that. Like it's like they have to have their hand held in order to be able to get to that conclusion, even though it's right there in front of you, like right there in front of them, because everybody's just so used to the narrative and just like reality being spoon fed and astroturf for them And it's just like, yeah, unless they literally come out and say, hey, they've been abducting people, like they're not gonna. I just not.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Just wait until they get to the topic of hybrids. Do you think that people will start to listen now that and I've been on TikTok and I have to say that this whole stuff will not interest people, but once they start talking about hybrids, people will start to listen a lot more when they get to the topic of hybrids because I've been down the rabbit hole of TikTok and there's a lot of really, really interesting questions. And I was like, okay, at least now we know like what topic the general public is actually interested in hearing about aliens. And I was like, well, that's mostly related to the hybrid program. And I was like, once people start talking about the hybrid program, and it's like, well, how will religious communities or how will other people, accept it? And it's like one of the things I'm going to say this right now. I truly believe that in order for our human race to evolve, we need to get rid of religion. 100%. I'm sorry if people believe in Jesus or Christianity. Jesus is not your fucking savior. I'm sorry. We have to be our own saviors. Jesus is not going to save you. It's been 2,000 years. Fucking grow up and start to realize that religion is nothing but a program, a mind altering program. And the only way for us to evolve is to get away from religion, to actually like start going down the scientific route with
It's a
emotions.
lot easier said than done.
And it's like and it's like and it's like, do you really think those children that are crying out, do you think that Jesus saved them? No. Do you think Christianity or your religion saved these children? Fucking no. We saved those children. SSP soldiers from the fraction saved those children from those dumps. Jesus had nothing to do with it. Religion had nothing to do with it. And with this UFO hearing, like I understand why a lot of people don't care. But for people who are from the experiencer communities or from the Starseed community that have been stripped from their rights, have been stripped from their families, or been prosecuted, have been killed because of speaking out about this, you have been validated by our US Congress. You should held your head high, that anybody who thought that you were crazy, dumb, a psychopath for believing in UFOs or aliens, that you have been threatened by your family to be put in an insane asylum for believing in this stuff. I just want to say I'm really sorry for that has happened to you, but this UFO Congress, um, I hope it validates your experiences. I really hope that you, even though the general public is not listening to this, um, I really hope that your experience have been validated by our U.S. government now, and I hope that you guys can realize that.
I also want to say just on this comment here, that's not even actually him. It's like a person that they chose, which was like some part of like royalty. And Jesus did not even really look like that. And it's a whole thing. Um,
Yeah, like this is the reason why I don't like religions, because every single fundamental thing about our religion is false. Like we don't even know our true history, don't even know our true records because everything has been twisted.
subject, 'cause people really get upset when you say it, but yeah, it's a history that's been repeated over and over again. It was in the Sumerian culture, very similar story to Jesus of somebody coming from the sky, and it's like a it's Buddhism religion. What are your thoughts on Buddhism?
Um, well, if you actually understand Buddha's teachings, I believe that Buddha has a thing in there where where it's totally normal and acceptable to abandon your family, to abandon all earthly belongings, to go onto a path of enlightenment. So if you want to abandon your family, or if you want to abandon your friends and family to go on a path of enlightenment, you're free to do so in Buddhism.
So that's, I guess, just an open-ended interpretation.
Yeah. So if you actually like understand the story of Buddha, I think, and I'm really sorry, I'm trying not to be culture appropriate. I'm really sorry. I don't know a whole lot.
You want to see what well, one thing I want to say, and we can finish this thought, but do you want to see what the normie media is saying about this? I have like a little clip we could watch. We could react to.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I don't want to test out this feature because I've never.
But in a roundabout way, yes, Buddhism is a religion. I do think that it's the washed down version, to be honest, of spiritual enlightenment. But I do believe that in something about Buddhism, where it's totally normal and acceptable to abandon your friends and family to go on a path of enlightenment.
Well, anyway, let's just see if this works. In the chat, please let us know how it's coming out, because I don't want it to be wrong. So this is breaking points. I have no idea who these people are, whether they're left-leaning, right-leaning, or neither, but this is them talking about the UAP hearing. It had some of the most views, and it came up. It was one of the first things that came up. So let's see.
Everybody, we had to skip ahead to UFO. We just talked way too much. So the DNC and the Ukraine sections will be pushed to tomorrow. So Tuesday, don't worry, we'll have a nice full show already of stuff that we're going to discuss. But I did want to get into the show a little bit of a recap of the UFO hearing. There were some very interesting moments that happened there. So we've collated a few of them for you. The first that we want to start with is testimony and questioning from Lou Elizondo, who was a part of the Pentagon, one of the people chiefly responsible for bringing to light the public, the existence of a lot of these UFO videos that existed inside of the Pentagon, and for some of the transparency movement behind it. So he gave some really shocking testimony under questioning from Anna Paulina Luna. Let's take a listen.
Would you agree that it's likely that they are being piloted by some mind-body connection?
Ma'am, I think it is safe to presume here that they are being intelligently controlled, because some cases seem to anticipate our maneuvers, and in other cases they seem to, I came across an email where the word "stalked" was used in a very secure email between Navy officers discussing their ships being pursued by a UAP.
In our previous panel, we had Grush, and he had testified to say that some of these were interdimensional beings. Can you speak on that at all?
Ma'am, I'm not qualified, certainly as a scientist or otherwise, to speculate points of origin. I looked at everything from a scientific perspective. So if you look at, for example, instantaneous acceleration, which was one of the observables.
They brought you to the Congress floor to answer these questions. They brought you guys to the Congress floor to answer these questions. How are you not certified? How do you not know?
Yeah, that's a little bit frustrating, but it is at least satisfying to hear somebody in Congress be like,
there are people from UFO conferences that can answer these senators' questions more better than this guy on the fucking stand.
Yeah, let's listen to more of their drivel, shall we?
That I belong to, ATIP, the human body can withstand about 9 G-forces for a short period of time before you suffer negative biological consequences, blackouts, and ultimately redouts, and even death. Comparison, our best technology, the F-16, which is this older platform, but one of our most highly maneuverable aircraft, manned aircraft, made by General Dynamics, can perform about 17 or 18 G-forces before you start having structural failure, meaning that the airframe begins to disintegrate while you're flying. The vehicles we're talking about are performing in excess of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Gs.
So are you...
What's that, Audrey?
The guy on the background, if you want to go a little bit back.
Sure. Here.
The vehicles we're...
So I'm assuming The guy in the background is on my right side, in the front row.
Okay.
He
Hank.
might actually be this guy's handler in the background.
Okay.
And that's the reason why he's face nodding with the guy, because he's like, he's on track. He's saying his lines correctly. He could be this guy's handler in the background.
Makes
But
sense.
we're dealing with this guy that's talking is definitely a human. Not a starseed, no starseed affiliations, nothing. So he's a normie. So this might explain the reason why he has no idea or no idea about this type of stuff.
Yeah, he's just totally clueless is what it seems like. But let's listen to a bit more.
Of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Gs.
So are you, I guess, would it be safe to infer that they're living craft?
I'm not prepared at this point to state for the record, is something alive or not, because even that definition is hard. There was a time in science we thought that life required oxygen, and we now know that's not true. There are anaerobic bacteria that thrive in oxygen environments that lack oxygen. And so also same with photosynthesis. When I was in college, I was told everything is derived from photosynthesis as a form of energy. In reality, that's not true. There are things that live off of chemosynthesis. So we're constantly having to reevaluate our understanding of what the definition of life is.
3,000 Gs. Let that one sink in there. And there's been some discussion previously, especially in regards to the Tic Tac incident. Let's also go to the next one here, because this is a really critical part of it. This is specifically about the GOP oversight and about some of the previous allegations that were happening in terms of budgeting and how previous ways that the Department of Defense can get around transparency and others is by piloting and pushing them through military contractors to
Yeah, think of all the money that's getting funneled into these secret space programs and stuff like that. They're
Oh
like,
yeah, the vents,
approaching-
the vents, the defense bill that everybody's talking about, or the aid stuff that goes to these other countries. Is it really going to these countries, or is it going to these secret programs?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and I think both you and I know the answer. But
Yeah,
let's see what else they've got to say. And it's kind of funny because there really are. I guess it's funny to see this because I think it's important. This is like the normie media. Like I said, I don't know much about this Breaking Points people, but it came up. It was one of the first things that came up, so it must be popular. And they really are like, oh, wow. And it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of funny. Like they're shocked. And it's like for us,
I think because of so much information that has been leaked and stuff, I think we're mostly dealing with the normies that have been waiting and waiting and waiting to get confirmation that this is real before they can start talking about it. Because let's for an instance, if more popular media like celebrities start talking about aliens and UFOs, do you think that they're going to be labeled as crazy and we're not going to be hearing from them anymore? Or do you think that they're going to start becoming more and more popular now because they're going to start talking about aliens because they're becoming more and more of a celebrity? But like people need to like understand, like a couple of decades ago, before I was even born, if anybody said anything about aliens or UFOs, you were labeled as crazy. Like people were like after you and basically wanted to like kill you because you're talking about aliens, you're different, and you're exposing this stuff. You shouldn't. And now it's like, oh yeah, aliens are real. Like we know, and it's like okay, and it's fine.
well,
and stuff.
Totally like got people coming on my wall like being like, when are you gonna come back down to reality with everybody else? And it's like, have you watched the UAP hearings? Like, you guys should be approaching my reality, not me approaching your watered down version of it. I'm sorry that I know.
It's like guy. The reason why I don't want to talk. The reason why I want to talk about it, but it's a good thing that we are talking about it, is because we're not just talking about ocean aliens or UPA. We're literally talking about that this is the first attempt of US Congress or US, which is the bigger powerhouse of our entire planet, that basically starts war or basically fuels this entire program that we've been trying to disclose for eons, is just literally just told the normie community for the first time ever that UAPs or UFOs are real and aliens are real. And the general public is that we don't care. How does that make us feel? It's like, we told you guys, we've been telling you guys over and over and over again. And your guys' fucking response is
like,
that
oh, they're
guys
just
don't
here.
care.
Here's what it is, and I'm gonna kind of give you a little answer to my opinion on that. It's like, to them, it's like they're for lack of better terms, and not to be rude, they're stupid. They're like, oh, there's aliens here. They're just, and they don't think at all about the implications.
Yeah, it's absolutely, and it's
They're
like,
not thinking about, okay, why are they here? Why is our government lying to us? What are they doing? And then they're not making the connection. Oh, then maybe all these abductee people that have been talking for years and writing books about it and stuff, maybe they aren't crazy. Maybe they are telling the truth. They're not reaching that conclusion.
no, I don't know if I don't
You
know.
literally have to hold their hand and dress like this guy and wear a suit and have some sort of big backing.
Yeah, and
people believe
and
you.
it's like, okay, well, you guys don't care, and it's like, is our human race becoming dumber?
Yeah, I think we got
Is our race,
Boom.
as the human race, are we becoming dumber and then actually becoming smarter as a race? And it's like, is this the reason why we have a collapse as a society every single generation or every a couple of thousand years, is because we become super, super smart, and then all of a sudden we become super, super dumb again? Is that like a human trait for us as a civilization?
Think about it, like I don't know how to clean a deer or any of that stuff. I probably should, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to grow my own food. So like, if a societal collapse happens, like there's all these people with all these specialized roles in society. Like, this is something that anthropologists and stuff talk about. It's like, there's all these people with specialized roles in society, and they might be brilliant. You might be a brilliant scientist that knows how to measure certain chemicals and make new things and do all this fantastic stuff, but you might not know how to go out and forage berries and kill a deer. You know what I'm saying? So that's why there's this whole theory that is literally what happens to society. Is all of our specialized skills mean nothing and get thrown out the window when we have these like disasters that happen, these resets that happen. Like, only the strong survive. It doesn't really matter your intelligence. It matters pragmatic intelligence is what matters.
Yeah, like, a lot of people need to, like, understand that, and I already know this because this is general knowledge to me, but other people, this is general knowledge and they'll go angry at it. The first people that are going to die during a civilization of collapse is people with physical disabilities, people who are elderly, and mostly women. Because due to the fact that society structures are collapsing and our prison population, goes and stuff, and it's like, and understanding the atrocities that women have gone through, the three people that are going to suffer the most is people with physical disabilities, people who are elderly, and women, young women. Because our society, understanding our society, that some grown-ass men do not like women at all, but like prepubescent women, and is basically ingrained in them for centuries. It's been ingrained in men for centuries to like pubescent girls and not actually women. And people might say, well, and it's like, well, have you guys actually looked at other countries? In Iraq, in Iran, they have just legalized that girls as young as 9 years old can marry grown-ass men now. And it's like, our society has not gotten better. It's gotten a lot worse. And they've just been really good at hiding it.
What about Bill Gates? He has that whole thing that he made to explain to everybody how the world's so much greater than it used to be. What's that called?
Oh no, because oh no, the world's not better. You want to know why?
Yeah, why? Why?
It's social pressure. We have phones now, and everything that you do can be recorded. Every single fundamental thing that you do in life can be recorded and be used against you in life.
Yeah, a lot of people are literally well, look at the people who have literally had their careers ended over things they've just like tweeted or
Yeah.
whatever. So it's like it really is this technology where it's like I've talked about this before. It's the double-edged sword. It's the contradiction.
The reason why our society is not getting better is because we don't have any more common sense anymore. We don't have any emotional connections with people anymore. Like in my personal life, I can't tell you how hard it is for me to make actual friends, like actual normie friends. Like I can't tell you like how hard it is to actually make friends. Like I put in the time and effort to plan things. I take the time to actually understand and get their phone number and chat with them. And the next thing I know is that I get crickets from them. And it's like I thought that we were friends. I thought that we were having a good connection and being friends. No, like
Yeah, I
to this
understand.
day, to this day and age, as a grown-ass woman, I cannot make it a stable friendship.
Yeah, it's hard.
Why is that as our society? And it's like I can't even maintain a decent friendship with people. And it's like, how is our society getting better if we're losing these fundamental morals as our society? And it's really great to hear this and react to this type of stuff, but and the moral of the story is due to the fact that our own general public does not fundamentally care about this UFO hearing really says that we really are not ready to go into space. We're not ready for disclosure. We're not ready because we don't care. We don't care about what's going on. We don't care about what the elites is and stuff.
Yeah,
And it's like we don't care. Like this is just entertainment. We don't know if it's real or not. It's just entertainment. And it's like some of this stuff is not entertainment. This is people's lives that we're talking about that have been fundamentally changed by this UFO hearing.
yeah.
And people just don't care.
Well, let's see what these normies are. They cared enough to make this little video. Let's see how they're reacting to it more. Might as well see what else this guy has to say.
To avoid transparency, to avoid disclosure. It's also part of the reason the Pentagon literally cannot pass an audit. Let's take a listen to that section.
To your knowledge, any communication.
Let's not gloss over that. The Pentagon did another audit recently, and you're talking about people and how they're stupid. We're talking.
That guy is definitely
idiocracy. So the thing is they did another audit. They can't account for trillions of dollars. The Pentagon, they're losing trillions of dollars, our tax money, trillions. And for the fifth or sixth time, they can't account.
I still don't understand why people are not up in arms about this. Like we should be writing in the streets about this.
Your money, trillions of dollars. That's money that could be trillions of dollars.
Like this could go into housing. This could go into children's educational.
We could have streets paved in gold if that money went into our actual infrastructure and our actual.
Yes, and people don't care about that. Oh yeah, by the way, I do want to say that this guy is definitely a hybrid. You can definitely tell this guy is a hybrid.
Yeah, there's something going on with him. It seems like for sure. Let's see what he's got to say here. And yeah, just like I said though, the thing I wanted to say about the audit. So the fight with Mike Tyson and Jake Paul or Logan Paul or whatever happened that night. And so everybody was more concerned with that fake set up not even real fight than the fact that the Pentagon just got audited again and didn't have any answers. They didn't. It's like, what are we paying these people to do even? But anyway,
with a non-human life form.
So
And
the
the
term
guy that's
communication is a
right
bit of a
next to
trick
the-
word because
the guy that's sitting right next to that guy, I have to say, so the guy that is wearing the yellow tie, he's definitely a hybrid. The guy that's right next to the guy on his right side, on my right side, I don't know what's going on with that guy, but he's just like pale face, like pale skin. That guy that's
could be
sitting right
nervous.
next to the guy is definitely a hybrid. Another hybrid.
what if
I
he's just
don't know if he's like a synthetic that's been put into this Congress hearing, but go back a minute and let me show the audience what I'm talking about.
Into that section.
To your knowledge, any communication.
Yeah, that guy right
with
there
a
that has his
non-human
hand on his
life
mouth.
Oh wow, yeah, he looks like a Rothschild type kind of guy.
Yeah, like
So
can't
the
you,
term
you
communication
guys
is a bit of a
like
trick
that
word
might either
because
be like
there's
a
verbal communication like
Rothschild
we're having
guy
now.
or a
The
synthetic
problem is
human
you
or a
also have
hybrid, but
nonverbal communication, and
but
so I would say definitively yes, but from a nonverbal meaning.
So we already saw this. He's talking about just glossing over the ET existence or whatever.
With this, we have these things that are being observed over controlled U.S. airspace, and they're not really doing a good job hiding themselves. They're making it pretty obvious they have the ability to even interfere with our nuclear equities and our nuclear readiness.
So two, pretty interesting allegations there. So there was
Yeah, this is nothing new. I remember seeing a guy go on two United States military generals, and then it was, I think, a guy from Australia, maybe a guy from Britain. You can find this. They're on Larry King, and they talked about how these UFOs would show up to military bases, and they would basically make their computers go haywire.
yeah, you want to know the reason why they do that?
Information's new.
You want to know the reason why UFOs go to these military bases is because our government is up to no good. They're doing crazy shit.
Yeah.
And it's like these UFOs are not coming here and destroy them. They're basically wiping out your guys' fucking communities because you're doing stupid shit that could basically destroy our planet or have something to do with these programs or these children or these programs. They're literally going after these military bases because you guys are doing shit that you guys should not be doing. You guys either took their UFO technology and using it against us. You're using alien fucking technology against your own fucking citizens.
It's pretty sick, believe me. That's pretty much the whole reason why I made the YouTube.
Like the targeting community. Like let's get into the reason why UFOs are going to these military bases. You guys have taken their UFOs, have stolen their technologies, rebacked engineering it, and you're using that fucking technology, alien technology, and using it on your own fucking civilization. The targeting community, like, this is the reason why we have a targeting community, because they're using fucking alien technology to basically target these people.
Targeted community would be better. Targeted
community.
Yeah.
And it's like the ETs are literally shutting down these bases that have their technology that are using them against us. Our U.S. military, our military is using their technology against us as lab rats, and they're stopping that. That's something that people need to
understand. That suggests that they're not all bad. And
they're not all bad. They're not all crazy. They're literally trying to help us.
He's sort of fear mongering in a way too, sort of. But
look, in terms of,
it's so frustrating. It's like, oh, we're fear mongering. It's like, no, these ETs are trained. They have a very specific purpose. Some of them are not even allowed to come to Earth because of the Galactic Federation. Some of them are even scared to even enter into our solar system because of the Galactic Federation and because of the Anunnaki and the Draconians that live here. There's a lot of them that are literally extremely scared. And some of them, you have to understand, these UFOs that go to these military bases that crash land here, they're risking their fucking lives for coming to this planet. every single one of these UFOs that you guys see in the sky, they're risking their lives to showcase themselves to us because they can be shot out of the sky by our own military at any given moment. So every single time that they come to our planet, they're risking their lives to showcase themselves to you.
Yeah, I would agree that our government isn't a. I would say that it seems to me like our government is trying to cover up their existence, and they are
Do you?
finally it's tipping the other way where they're going to show themselves. They're already showing themselves. Excuse me. Farsight basically said people are just going to start seeing ships out in the open, all over the place. And you say you're on TikTok, Audrey. Have you been paying attention to this? People are seeing ships out in the open, all over the place.
Yeah, but some of them are really hard to disfigure whether or not it's AI or whether or not it's actual ships. And that's the thing that I do. That's the thing that I do want to mention.
Yeah, it's hard, but I know that there are at least.
It's extremely hard to tell on TikTok and especially on Facebook to say, okay, is this an actual UFO or is this AI? And some of it, like I know some things are actually AI generated because you can see like the people in the video are not reacting to what's in the sky. So I know that it's AI. But some of it, it's like, okay, this might actually be real. But on the other hand, it's like, don't take everything grain of salt. But due to the fact that we have them solidify that ocean aliens are real and stuff, to the point that they might actually try to help the Merfolk to actually showcase them more and more to the general public because they have a right to, and it'd be more easier for them to use the Merfolk to help with first disclosure or to help the human race to evolve out of this slump that we're in because they're a native race to Earth and they have more legal right because they're native to Earth and to us as humans. So it's like, what are you going to do? Because it's like you can't, and it's like because there are going to be humans like us that will see them and it's like, why is our US government trying to kill these people, kill these beings or these merfolk? And there will be people that will advocate for the merfolk to be protected or federally protected by our government or like world government and protect them. And this is what they want, is that they want the human race to start getting emotionally attached to these creatures or these merfolk beings that live in our oceans. Because once we have emotional connection to what's living in our oceans, we will fight more and more to get them to be protected. Like there'll be no more fishing. There'll be a lot more better laws over our oceans because they live in our oceans. But it's also a learning process for us to move into the next step, is because if we can't formulate proper laws with these merfolk beings that live in our oceans, how are we going to dictate laws or how are we going to create laws with other ET beings that want to come and visit Earth if we can't even make our own laws and even follow them with our own civilization? And also with the merfolk, we're not even following the laws that we are following as a civilization here on this planet, and we're still allowing abuse. We're still allowing a lot of fundamental stuff that is not correct in our society, and we think that it's normal, but it's not normal. And there's this is a good thing because we're moving forward, and it's going to take a long time for us to like get into that first wave of disclosure. But this is how it should be done. We should be having two native races, maybe one that's a little bit more advanced than the other or whatever. But this is how it should have gone, is that we should have had a native race from Earth to present themselves to the general public, say, hey, we're here, we've been coexisting with you, we want to make our presence known. And this is how two native tribes on Earth start to unite. And once we start to learn to work together with these merfolk, we can actually start to advance our society and start learning how to create laws, how to present ourselves with these other beings, because this will also help us how to engage with other life forms and other planets in the galaxy. So this is like a stepping stone. And to see how are we going to react, how are we going to handle this. And fundamentally, for the first signs of it, does not look very good. But on the other hand, like, this is a good thing because it allows other races that are watching and following like what is actually happening, is like, okay, so we know the general public is aware that these Congress hearings, but they don't really have emotional connection because there is a disconnect between our government structure and the general public. And it's like, why is there a disconnect between the general public and our government structure? So they're also learning how to engage with our government and our culture as the human race, because they're seeing our interactions between our own government structure in the general public. And this is an entirely new wave of understanding, because when they first come to Earth, a lot of people have a lot of trust, have a lot of respect for their government structure. We're the exact opposite as a society, where we don't have a whole lot of trust in our government structure. And that was evidence because of this UFO hearing. So, yeah.
What do you think of this comment?
Well, yeah, this can go both ways, Anthony. Why is it that us tourists go to other countries and we don't follow their laws? They're learning from us. Like, us as tourists, when other humans come to our country, why isn't that they don't learn English? Like, why don't they want to respect our laws? Like, you're a refugee that comes into our country. Why are you not respecting our laws as a country? But when we go to your country, we have to respect your laws. We have to understand your country's laws, ethics, and language. But when you come to our country, you don't do that. It goes both ways with these ETs. And that's just something that I want to say, is that ETs are learning from us, we're learning from them.
And
It goes both ways.
Two-way street. I don't know if you want to continue to see what these people got.
Pretty interesting allegations.
It just automatically started playing. Let's see what else they got going on. Pretty interesting allegations, he says. These aren't allegations, they are an admittance. It's not an allegation. He's testifying before Congress.
So there was look, in terms of the hearing, it was a lot about getting stuff on the record. There were some issues, as I was told, in terms of the Immaculate Constellation document, the 12-page document that was put into the congressional record. I won't go into all of that just yet because we're about to play a video. But overall, this was about getting Lou Elizondo in questioning, getting some of the things on the record, going into the Trump administration. And that's one thing where, look, Trump and RFK, actually Gates, as well, have all said that they are at least, in favor of UFO transparency, of disclosure. There is like some sort of horseshoe MAGA crossover currently with UFOs and Trump. So the question is that are we going to get some of this to be released? Considering that Tulsi Gabbard's now going up for the ODNI.
Yeah, it has been released, but it's going to be heavily redacted. They're gonna have a black marker and be like, and be like kids, and it's like, let's just edit this out with a black marker. And it's like, yeah, they're going to release the records, but they're going to heavily redact it with a black marker.
Yeah, probably. That's what they've done in the past.
Sort of transparency-laden effort to actually declassify a lot of these documents and actually just give it out to the general public. The other option is the permanent bureaucracy only burrows even further in, and you're not going to get anything. But nonetheless, it was very interesting. to see some of this go on the record.
Was there an effort during the first Trump administration to get him to release this documents, and why has he said that he didn't?
So he said he did it at the request of Mike Pompeo, just like with the JFK. So let's, first with that. Also, look, Trump doesn't care about the issue, and this is unfortunate. He's not somebody who has ever expressed a deep interest. The whole UFO thing has taken years to enter the public consciousness. Lou Elizondo is one of those people who's chiefly responsible for getting these videos.
It's the first time that's a lie. It's the first time that has been put on public stage for the normies to understand.
Yeah.
This is the first time that a government entity has stated to the general public that UFOs are real and we don't know how to handle them. That's basically what it was. And it's like, yeah, they're real. We don't know how to handle them. We don't know how to engage with them.
It's basically them just being like, we're fucking helpless. Like, I mean, seriously, that's sort of what it sounds like.
To the public. He was there and name checked in the 2017 New York Times article that started this whole thing. That's when people were like, holy shit, are UFOs actually real? In those videos, I can say that for myself. The problem with the legitimization is people kind of just saw it and then just moved past. Lou Elizondo himself was out of the government. Then what happened, in the interim period of years is people like David Fravor came out and gave interviews. You had people now like David Grush who have come forward. You've had almost 8 years of the public reconciling himself to both the lies and the transparency, and people like Christopher Miller and others who have come forward and have spoken about this program. So I would say it is.
He's naming a lot of names. Like, there's been a lot of people who have come forward.
Is more primed, I think, both for the public, for the military bureaucracy, and also even members of Congress. These people thought it was all a joke.
Also a UFO guy?
Rubio is a UFO guy. That's very true. Okay, I'll put it this way. I don't know if he's a UFO guy.
To the UFO Congress over the years, the UFO conferences over the years, are you going to have them come to court and have them be speak about their experiences? Like, are you going to say?
Yeah,
are you going to have those people
could back and be like, maybe I should look into a few things, like Communion, like that book that's so famous and stuff like that. Just kind of work their way up from there. You know what I mean? Like, maybe people.
Yeah, like, why don't you bring these UFO authors to stand? Like, it's like I understand that these people come forward, that they're very brave, that they could sacrifice their career, but what about the experiencer community? What about them? Like, are you going to have them come on the stand and share their experiences and actually answer the questions that Congress actually want answers to?
Yeah, I think it is going to happen eventually. I do. I believe that's going to happen. I think we just got to give it time.
Because I know this entire community would love to go on national television and answer the questions that Senate actually wants answers to. Because we have the actual answers. These government goons don't, and they won't. And they will not give the Senate the answers that they're looking for, but we will.
We don't have these accolades, and we're not part of the military-industrial complex on an official record. I am, but you know what I mean. But nobody listens to us because of that. So
yeah, but it's like, well, if Congress gets a little bit smarter. Do you know like how many people in our community would love to go to U.S. Congress and sit on the Senate floor and be like, so what you guys know about UFOs? And it's like, we can give an entire presentation to the entire Senate about UFOs.
Right.
But what we know in the military complex, and it's like, don't you guys dare share.
Well, we just got a little bit left of this video. Let's see what else these guys got to say.
In terms of he's a believer, but he was the head of the Intelligence Committee in the Senate, and his staff and others were always consistent that they were very concerned about the reports that they would get. Notice, and I think this is intentional, is they always talk about readiness, because the one way angle you can always get Congress and others to care about is like, hey, We literally have things that are flying around up there and we have no idea what they are, including being able to disable like nuclear missiles.
It makes a good point. The only way to get them to care is to talk about national security. So that's one of the reasons why it's centering around that and why they're doing the fear mongering, is because that's the only way to get Congress to care about shit, right?
It's true. And it's
Silos.
like, well, I know the reason why they're going to these military bases and destabilizing nuclear weapons is because they don't want nuclear war. They don't want us, the stupid humans or the stupid normies, to go like, boop, button nuclear war and destroy the entire planet, because they also live here too. They also like Earth.
It affects like time, space, and like apparently I've heard from a lot of different sources that like nuclear energy and like nuclear blasts like have way more ill effects than we realize just on a surface level. Like it's just bad. Like they're just not like they will interfere. They will not allow.
Oh yeah. Like the normies, like our government doesn't understand how dangerous nuclear weapons are. They're like, yeah, like we understand that nuclear weapons are like, you know, like really, really bad and like really, really scary. But it's like, do you guys know that it's gonna like destroy this planet's atmosphere and our environment for a few thousand years, and it's going to just affect the energy structure of this entire solar system and affect the stargates that could affect other planets that they're connected to. Like nuclear radiation is not just going to be contained here on this planet. It's going to spread around the multiverse very quickly. So that's the reason why they don't want nuclear war. So like if you have to understand how Earth is structured and understand how Earth operates in the energy structure in the Stargate system, like you literally could affect the entire multiverse or the entire galaxy with nuclear weapons of how the Stargate system or energy structures work on this planet and stuff. So in a roundabout way is like a roundabout way. These UFOs are not doing malicious intent. Are U.S. military things that are doing malicious intent because they're shutting down our computers and stuff? And it's like, they're trying to save you guys' asses for not doing your jobs and keeping these computers or this nuclear base under control or like in a good condition. So they're like forced to do this, forced to come here and do it ourselves, like basically take over the lazy work of humans to make sure that we'll stay safe. And like we owe it to a lot of these UFOs that risk their lives to go to these nuclear bases or nuclear radiation bases, risking exposure to nuclear radiation or radiation to stop us from getting affected and destroying our entire civilization because
shout out to the aliens helping us not die from nuclear fallout. Shout out, guys, if you're watching this.
So it's like thank you for any UFO or any aliens that might actually watch this feed or actually.
You guys are real G's out there for helping us out.
Yeah, thank you so much for going to these military bases, risking your lives and shutting down these computers that could cause a nuclear war because of normies or a military complex not doing their jobs or being completely like military zone or military, whatever you want to call it. Like I understand
we need our matches taken away. That is kind of like what we are. We're like a little kid with matches. Don't realize we could burn the whole house down, right? Like that's kind of what we are, right?
Yeah. And so it's like, yeah. And we think like, oh, they're dangerous. And it's like, so you're telling me that a UFO went to a nuclear base to shut down the computer system? Huh. I wonder what led them to do that in the first place. Because it mostly seems like it was not malicious intent. Like they were saving us from something or letting us know about something that our government doesn't want us to know about. So it's like in a roundabout way, like a lot of these ETs are just doing like time to save the humans, time to take away their ranches again.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. And I'm not all for it. I mean, but I'm afraid also because I don't know. I believe that we deserve our own sovereignty, and I do believe that it's been manipulation.
It's just that we don't put the right people in position of power. That's the issue. We think that we are, but we're not.
Well, let's see what else these people got to say. It's not that much left.
And submarines, and people have no clue like what's actually happening. So I think that's how I would contextualize this hearing. I will end with this part, but again, I have to note that there were some issues with the enter of this into the record. So let's go ahead and get to Nancy Mace's questioning about the Immaculate Constellation program entered in the congressional record. Let's take a listen.
There is a document that will be entered into the congressional record today. Mr. Tim Burchett from Tennessee has this document, and we just distributed it to every member up here on the dais of this document. But this is going to be the original document from the Pentagon about Immaculate Constellation that Michael Schellenberger delivered to Congress today. So thank you, Mr. Schellenberger, for this information. We are all reading it in real time now, and Mr. Burchett will enter it into the record, but 12 pages about this unacknowledged special access program that your government says does not exist.
Like I said, in terms of that
Of course it doesn't exist.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really important.
I wonder if she was talking about what that document or that document is just basically like the dumbed down version of the SSP programs or the programs.
Yeah, Immaculate Constellation.
Here's a document, but we're not going to tell you what this program is all about.
Well, no, let's listen to what else she has to say on this guy.
Entered in the congressional record, but as I understand it, like I said, there were some issues regarding the enter of that into the record, and this is part of the controversy and things that have come out of it. My point just being that on the program itself, in terms of getting things into the congressional effort, this was an effort to try and to enter Michael Schellenberger's original report, in there so that people can read for itself. And because you want to get this stuff into the record, it allows for investigation, public transparency, which is the ultimate goal of the project. Overall, I would not call the hearing like a tremendous success or anything like that, because nothing other than actual disclosure is. I think it was just pushing the ball forward and setting things up for the next Trump administration and what that will look like.
It's going to be interesting.
I know it's complicated.
Listen, if I'm going to get Trump, at least I can get like JFK files and alien files.
JFK and aliens. That's right.
That would be interesting.
I mean, think about it. If you ever wanted someone to meet an alien, wouldn't it be Donald Trump in terms of the president? Who would you want? Which commander in chief? Definitely not Biden.
I'm sure this
I don't know if he's our best of our best.
is something that I've really thought that I'm prepared to opine on. I haven't really thought about it.
There is a theory that Dwight Eisenhower.
Voice, to be honest, it's gonna be. Have you ever seen that kids' cartoon series called Monsters versus Aliens, where the president comes out with electric keyboard and starts?
No, I haven't seen that. I thought you were gonna talk about the Little Rascals. Because Trump was on the Little Rascals. I thought you were gonna talk.
No, there's a movie called Aliens versus Monsters, and the aliens comes to Earth to extract a meteorite that he wants for his technology. And our government just shows up to the alien spacecraft, and the president comes out with electric keyboard in the cartoon series. I don't know if you can find that clip on YouTube and show it to the audience.
What is it?
It's called Monsters versus Aliens.
Piano scene. It comes up right away. Okay, hold on. First contact, best scene. Can you hear the sound there?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can share screen. Just entire screen, and then right here. All right. Is this the right part?
Yep. Oh, there's no sound.
Okay, you can't hear the sound. Yeah, that's what happens. I don't know why, but maybe we could at least just show.
Yeah. Okay. Here we
Where,
go. Here we go.
oh, he's got a DX7.
And he's playing music to the alien spaceship that was first gone.
I gotta watch this now.
Like, this is seriously how I think first contact went.
This is great.
Just look at the building. I think this is like the best review.
Oh man.
And they put this in a kids movie. It's like, this is how we want it to happen, but it's not gonna end up though. Oh. So yeah, that's monsters versus aliens.
I definitely gotta watch that movie now. Yeah, that was great. Well, I think we can wrap it up. Probably, I guess, basically, you know, it seems, I guess, in conclusion, it kind of just seems like a distraction. It kind of seems like they're not really getting anywhere. Like, we really need to get to this meat of the meat of the issue a lot faster. That's kind of what I'm getting out of it. What are your thoughts on it, Audrey?
I think that there's still a lot more that can be done, to be honest, but this is a good first start. Even though that it's not the way that we expected it, it's least leading into the right direction. It's a first step, to be honest.
Yeah, well, so I guess right now there's Paranormal Files. So it's a lot bigger. He's got millions of people, more than 1 million subscribers, but he's doing a lot of stuff on SRA. And he's doing a lot of really great work. And apparently there's something premiering right now. So to anybody watching this that wants something to do, I'm probably going to do exactly what Jason does. I'm probably going to go over there and check out what's going on over there.
Yeah.
So just a heads up to people, like it says on the ticker on the bottom of the screen, definitely check out Audrey. You can find her, Audrey Walters, on Facebook. She's available for private consultations. If you want to kind of explain that to people.
Yeah, so I have my general readings that I do with people. If you're in the SSP, person that deals with alien abductions, I have also had people come to me that have fae encounters that need to be talked about. I deal with the whole entire range, including astral traveling and all that stuff. I do consultations about that. I talked with people to help them to understand like what's going on, the dynamic, and the reason why it happens, or the reason why it happens the way it does. And I just talked with people and their experiences, and that's what my consultation is. I also do energy work. So if anybody wants to do energy work, I am a certified Reiki master, so I do energy work. I also do aura readings.
Do you have an email for people if they're interested in getting a hold of you and you don't have to?
Yeah, so I have my Telegram, and my business email is starseednetlink@gmail.com, and my Telegram, where did my phone go? My Telegram is also on my YouTube profile. If you guys want to contact me on my Telegram to book a session with
And
me.
her YouTube is linked in the description of this video. And I also just want to bring up to people, I know it was in the bottom of the screen, but you can get your early bird tickets for the 2025 Full Disclosure Now conference in St. Petersburg, Florida. It's going to be July 15th through 18th, so you can save a little bit of money. And you can also get a couple special that we have running right now, where it's you save a little bit of money by getting a twofer. So just check that out, people. It's a really fun conference, and it was really great last year. And I look forward to seeing a lot of people again, and hopefully new faces as well. Yeah, I'm gonna just wrap up the show now, Audrey. So I'm gonna let you go.
Hi guys. See you.
And I just wanted to thank my patrons and everybody who watches the channel. I really appreciate it. This is my Patreon. You guys are the best. It's just a way to supplement the channel to help support me financially. I do this full time, and I barely make it by, but I do make it by, and I do believe God is taking care of me, and you guys are helping with that. So I really do appreciate that. And I'm just trying to do better. I don't know if you noticed with the banners and the outros and intros. I'm trying to kind of upgrade the channel and stuff. We have a Discord now that you can check out and everything. So we're really expanding the channel. We've got 3 shows now. We've got New Earth Light Brigade, which is every other Sunday. So it won't be next Sunday, but the Sunday after we'll be here again. We have Full Disclosure Now, of course, with Brian saying on Tuesdays, and then we have the Virtual Temple Complex, and there's other stuff in the work as well. So I'm really just trying to bring this channel further and further along. But anyway, without further ado, I'm just gonna kind of end the video, and I have a little thank you video that I made for you guys who are my Patreon. So I highly recommend checking it out, and thank you guys again so much for being here.